How are you lads? Now when I think of iconic Dublin pubs, one of the first pubs that comes to top of the list and top of the mind is Mulligans on Poolbeg Street. I first came to Mulligans back in 2019 for a Guinness review and I have never looked back. It's one of my regular spots in the city centre for a casual pint, and aesthetically I think it is an absolute work of art. Gary and the staff inside pride themselves on a no-nonsense, to the point way of doing things, serving great pints and keeping their local loyal customers happy. Gary, who has been working there for 35 years, 3 generations, Gary being the third, was good enough to chat to us about running one of the most iconic pubs in the world. Now before we go in and scope out the pub lads, I just want to give a massive shout out to the sponsor of the video. Thank you very much to Surfshark. And if you're sitting there, you've been living under a rock for the last 3 years saying what is Surfshark, let me explain. Surfshark is a virtual private network. The more familiar term might be VPN. If you want to watch something online that is not available in your country, you use the Surfshark VPN to change your location and you can watch it. That's pretty much it. It's an app or web extension that lets you place your phone or laptop anywhere in the world. Obviously not physically, that would not be logical. Why would I want to do that? Example, you live in Ireland, you want to watch a BBC iPlayer, you want to watch Match of the Day because you love the bloody footy. You go to watch it, it says you cannot watch it in your country. Hard luck pal, keep walking. Here we go, you get up Surfshark, you change your location to anywhere in the UK. Boom, there you go, watch Match of the Day till your heart's content. It also keeps anything you search super private, all encrypted, whatever that means. Nerd term that I don't really get, but it keeps your stuff safe. Do yourself a favor, enter promo code DARA to get up to 6 additional months for free. Link is in the description down below. Thanks again Surfshark for supporting the channel. Now let's go into this beautiful, iconic Irish pub.
Family place, it's a family run place, like it's I'm third generation, so.
Right, so can you give us a brief history?
Right.
I'm sure you could talk to us for 2 hours, but a brief.
Yeah, brief history. The last Mulligan was about the 1920s. When he passed away, the head barman at the time was my dad's uncle, a guy called Michael Smith. So Mulligan had no family, so he left it to him. And then when he passed away, he left it to my dad and my uncle, and another guy called Paddy Flynn. There were 3 of them that got together and bought the place. There's a long story to that one, but anyway, so then it was in our family. And then in '98, my uncle, he retired and sold his half to share.
Yeah.
And then it was myself and my brother Ger. So, but my brother Ger was here in the 70s and early 80s, and he went off and he came back, and then I've been here since '88. So we're in it, the family, it's in the trade a long time, I am.
So the Mulligan name was just kept from the original?
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, it's just the way it's been. Yeah, it's always been a Mulligan name, so it's just been in the family a long, long time.
Something I always say about this pub is the aesthetic of it, especially the outside. I think it's just absolutely beautiful. The kind of, I don't even know how you would describe the kind of, it's like a work of art to me. Is that like, how long has that been like that, and do you have to give it a facelift, and like was that designed specifically by someone?
Yeah, well originally, I mean there's photographs I think from the 70s and it's just normal plain colours. Then I had a guy called Cassidy and he was into his graining. It's called graining. Yeah. He was into painting the fancy stuff. Yeah. So he grained the front of it, he did the inside as well. Yeah. And then a few years back obviously he retired, and then there was another guy called John Levins.
John Levins.
Sorry, not John Levins, that's a customer. Richard Levins. Sorry, I mixed them up. Richard Levins, he's a painter and he's done the likes of the Palace Bar, the Drake and Suffield places. So
I was just going to say, I was like, I'm not sure if I should mention it, but I was literally walked by the Palace Bar. It was the first time I ever went.
He has a certain style and he does a few places,
And I would consider the Palace Bar, this and the Palace, I would always say 2 of the most beautiful looking pubs from the outside. Very inviting. Like.
Well, it's an old style pub, so he kind of keeps that theme. You know, even in the front bar now, it's this 1940s style, and he changed it. It was originally just plain, and he'd done a different style the last time he painted it, just because it's of the 40s, you know. Yeah. So originally, the bar's the original side, this here, and the back lounge would have been the old house, and that would have been 1750s, 1760s. Right. 1782 is the established date. Wow. And then the lounge was done in the 1940s, late 40s, early 50s. The lounge was built and upstairs and stuff like that, because it used to be just a yard. Yeah. So that's the way it works. Because if you go into, when you walk in Mulligans first, the bar on the front is lower, because that used to be the shop. And then you got the half barrel that divided the front from the back, which was here. And then the old house was this side of the back. And then in the 40s, whatever, there was a lot of work done. Yeah. The only time there's a lot of work done, and they changed a few things around, so it hasn't changed since, you know.
Brilliant. I'm not sure if you're over the Instagram.
Okay.
I just want to read you out the Instagram bio, which I love. It says, no nonsense 18th century pub with a cast of regulars and a lack of modern pomposity.
Right, oh wow, nice. Somebody went to school that day, right? Right.
But you've always said, like, I remember I came here, I was doing a video on kind of the difference between, say, the Temple Bar pub, which is a stone's throw away, and here, you said you've always would you agree, like, you pride yourself on keeping your kind of regular customers happy, and then whatever tourists and stuff come on in is like a bonus?
Yeah, well, I mean, the tourists come looking for what we have already, so, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, why should we change it? We don't do music.
Yeah.
Sing-songs, frowned upon. The TVs go on for the matches, and as soon as it's over, I'm like my dad, I turn them off. My dad used to say, when people are watching TV, they stop drinking, because they become zombies. They're like sitting and they're watching the pint and becomes, so turn it off.
Yeah.
I hate TVs on the pub that has like breaking news or whatever underneath, and it's just on for no reason.
Or the mass or something.
Yeah,
Sunday mass.
Sunday mass. Well,
depends on where you are in the country.
That's the first now. I haven't heard that one before, but yeah, it's just like, so people come looking for the no-nonsense, traditional, because obviously they've all done their research online and they've seen your videos and stuff like that. So they come here for the pint, they come here for the conversation and to sit down and just take it all in, and the history. There's loads of history to the place, you know. I mean, the history's gone from like JFK coming in when he was a journalist, and to like famous people like Tom Cruise.
So what year would JFK be in?
He was in the late 40s. He was a journalist. He was traveling around Europe at the time, and the Irish Press was next door to us. It was a national newspaper. So they brought him in there, and in those days this was like a sub-office. So when they did a tour in there, they brought him in here for a drink, and he sat in the back.
So the pub was the sub-office?
No, yeah, it was in those days. Like, that's how you got your work done.
Yeah.
Like, Mulligans was just a branch office to the Irish Press. They all drank in here. Like, the printers drank on this side, the journalists drank on the far side. They never really crossed, you know.
Just sipping away during the workday.
Well, we won't go into sipping, but they were having a few, It's all changed now, but in those days, like, that's how you got your news stories, not through the pubs, because most of the social life was through pubs, you know. So, yeah, we had, like, plenty of famous people over the years pass through the place, you know. It's gone from, like, I rattle it off, like U2, David Soul, Ralph Fiennes, to years.
You said no sing-songs, but if Bono came in and wanted to do a sing-song...
There was always exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule. Actually, it's quite a funny story. The four of them were sitting at the back table in there, early days of it, and the two minders were sitting at the counter, and one of the minders said to one of the lads behind the bar, he says, that's you two, if you want an autograph, you know, we'll look after you. And he just went, who the fuck are they? And just turned away, you know, because it was rough and ready, you know, the staff were like, you know, in those days, like in the 80s and 90s, somebody famous walk in, nobody minded them, nobody worried, like, that's such and such, and they turn around drinking a pint. They never really bothered with anybody, you know, so that's the way it was.
It's always been that kind of atmosphere in here, not rough and ready, but just no nonsense. But some people might hear, oh, no nonsense, and be like, but it's just
casual,
raw,
relaxed.
it's casual, it's real, it's not. No bullshit, really.
Yeah, well, that's it. We try and keep that, you know. I mean, it's changed over the years from when I started here, because that's just the demographics changed. Like, from civil service and theatre goers, like the Theatre Royal and the Dockers, and the Irish Press, to office crowd and stuff. It just changes. And then more tourists as well over the last 10, 15 years. A lot more tourists coming in trying to get a feel.
Yeah, and like, speaking of things changing, obviously, I was mentioning there the social media, the Instagram stuff. It's more something I would even say to pubs in terms of their own social media. They just constantly, it's just like, we've got this great thing, blah, blah, blah. But what tends to work is nothing even to do with yourselves. It's people coming on, you give them such a great product, and let them do the talking.
And
then because people will come to Dublin, they'll search up these different people, and they'll see Mulligans. They're probably not gonna, they mightn't go onto the Mulligans actual page. So I think that's it. Once the people come in,
well, I mean, there's plenty of stuff online, there's plenty of stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. And I mean, over the years, we've done the Irish Pub was a documentary about Mulligans. We did years ago. We had a TV show called Bachelor's Walk. It was on RTE. I've done Ripper Street, Foyles War was in here. Ripper Street was in here, and there on the far side, and another one called Quirk. And we've had loads of TV and then loads of ads.
Do they just approach you and
you
just
come in, how you doing, an old style pub, whatever, and they change it around a bit and they try and hide the modern stuff, the taps and they make it look old style, you know. So that's what we've had over the years. We've had plenty of stuff over the years, and you know, like small kind of snippets like yourself coming in, talking about the place as well, like loads of stuff.
And another thing I always noticed about this place is that you're obviously known for the great Guinness, and people wouldn't blame you for only having a small selection of, say, Guinness and a few other beers, but you must have one of the biggest selection of...
I have a good selection, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's sometimes you have to change them around because some of them work, some of them don't work.
So is that difficult to keep, like, to maintain a good standard of, like, so many different, like, how many beers do you have on tap?
30, I think 30 odd, yeah, different ones.
And the standard in the pub is probably what, less than 20?
Yeah, it would be less than 20 probably. I have a few extra ones, but the draw is so short. I mean, between the keg and the tap, it's about 2 pints, 1.5, 2 pints.
And is it like seasonal what you have on tap at one given time and what you don't have?
No, it kind of goes with the trends. I mean, a few years ago it was IPAs, then gin and tonics were huge, and then now it seems to be, apart from, well, Guinness is involved. The last 2 years, Guinness, since we reopened, it's just non-stop Guinness.
Yeah.
But the other one I've seen creeping in the last year or so is the premium lager, your Moretti, your San Miguel, stuff like that, Madry. They're the ones that are starting, they hold their own, they kind of, and the craft, it just changes. You know, you have to keep an eye on it. I go around the town, you keep an eye on what's coming in and what's going out. Yeah. I mean, 4 or 5 years ago, gin and tonics were huge, and then all of a sudden we realised you can get a normal gin and tonic with a normal tonic, and it's probably €4 or €5 cheaper. It's the same drink. Fair. So people switched over. It's just fads, you know. But Guinness at the moment.
Was there ever a time that Guinness wasn't the top seller?
Oh no. No. I mean, I tell people, right, 60, 70 Guinness a week is what we normally average sales-wise.
Kegs.
The next, kegs.
Not pints.
Not pints. The next biggest seller would be Heineken, probably 2, 3, maybe 4 in a good week. You know, that's the difference.
60 to 4.
Yeah, that's it. So everybody comes.
God.
My brother pointed
10 times the amount.
Well, that's it. My brother pointed out to me a few years back. Says, "Watch when people come in, like they'll say to their friends, don't care what you're drinking somewhere else. You're in Mulligans now.
Yeah, fair.
You're having a Guinness. Yeah. You know, and like when a gang of lads come in and they're like, it's 9 pints of Guinness and a pint of Coors. He's like Judas. Like, they're all looking at him, slagging him, going, "What are you doing drinking that soapy water?" You know, and it's that kind of banter. You know,
that's nearly what kind of you're nearly forced to have a pint of Guinness, and then that's nearly what gets people onto it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're here 35 years. I'm always fascinated between, like, you see videos of Guinness being poured now more than 35 years ago, but like, would it look totally different, say, even like maybe your dad and granddad, like 50, 60, 70 years ago?
Well, that's it. What even I see it now, what they've done with Guinness over the years is they've dropped the temperature slightly. Okay, it used to be 8 to 10 degrees.
Okay.
So it was a lot heavier. It was a heavier drink, more filling. Let's just say they used to say eating and drinking in a pint. Because it was room temperature. It was 8 to 10 degrees. Whereas Guinness now is probably 6 to 8, maybe.
Would you say like
lower?
It looks a little bit, like a bit more bubbly like years ago and not as kind of thick? Would it be right?
Well, that might have been just kind of the head would be a bit browner and stuff like that. That's just how they've changed over the years. They've tweaked it slightly. Years ago, we used to get the cylinders delivered on a truck, this gas cylinders. Now it's made on the premises. Like there's the nitrogen's downstairs, CO2's out in the yard, and they have a compressor downstairs that mixes it. Yeah. And the lads told me as soon as that went in, said, now we have control over Guinness.
Right.
Because, you know, and then they just started tweaking it, dropping it down. And what I find with the Guinness now is no matter how busy it gets, it still holds its head, which is a great thing. Because you see, old days, you get busy, it got a bit, the term watery, you know? Yeah. You know, and it still does change. Like, when the temperature changes outside, like there was a cold frost there for a few days, the Guinness gets cold. Yeah. But that's because the Guinness in the cold, in the front is cold, the cold has to change. Yeah. It has to work out what temperature is outside and inside, and it has to change, so it goes up or down. So it takes a couple of days for that to happen. And that's why I always say, like, Guinness we get up in Guinness is up in the yard, it comes down in the truck, it's either snow or sun or whatever, it gets thrown into the front cellar. We try and leave it for about a week. Yeah, you know.
And is that what, like? Would you say you try not move it either? You try
just leave it in the front cellar. It's just throw in the front cellar, let it cool down, let it warm up, whatever way the temperature is outside and inside.
And so 35 years here. Can you give me a sort of worst and best thing about a life in the pub?
Yeah, over the years, it's just some. Christmas is probably the biggest headache, you know. And then the All-Ireland finals. If it's Dublin, the All-Ireland final, I mean, it just goes from normal staff up to ridiculous amount of staff, street full.
And there's only so many staff you can...
There's only so many staff.
You can't have 100 staff behind the bar.
Exactly,
There's only so many taps and stuff as well.
Well, that's it, but the thing is, everybody's drinking Guinness, so you have one guy just pulling Guinness and trying to keep on top of it.
Amazing.
We have a system, it seems to work, and we over to, I think it was 2013 was the first one that Dublin won for a long time, and from then on it's just been crazy stuff. crazy
And
stuff.
lastly, like best thing or highlight over the last kind of 35 years for you, could you?
Every day is different. Every day I love just coming in and you meet strangers, you meet people, and you're like, how you doing? And
Yeah.
it's just every day is different. I love
Yeah.
just coming in. Every day is
And
different.
you're like a people person, you're chatty, so it's
Yeah,
like
exactly,
You kinda,
yeah, and
you
you
kind of
get-
would have to be like that.
Yeah,
to-
you kind of have to be like that, and
Yeah.
then now and again you have to be quiet as well. But no,
Yeah.
I just like the lads coming in today and telling them how you doing, welcome to Mulligans. I have a nice demeanour. I hope I do anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I mean it's just nice. It's just people are good 90% of the time, 95% of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
You know,
Like
it's
anything.
great. It's
Yeah.
just a good trade. It's just good fun. I like it. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like a chore. You know.
It's great to hear you still have a positive attitude after 35 years. And
I know. Yeah.
here's to
Yeah.
many
yeah.
more. I really appreciate
Thanks
the
very
chat,
much.
Gary.
Yeah, and you
Thank
keep
very
coming in
much.
for a pint as well.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank
Nice
you very
one.
much. Lovely.
Brilliant.
I better go.
Let you get back there, yeah.